and welcome back to It's Only Cooking. And I'm John Ruska, and this is my kitchen, not a sound stage. When we cook live. So if I make a mistake, unless my director and producer cut it, you're going to see it. First, a little explanation about the outfit today. One of my friends, Richard Slaybaugh, way down in Florida, watches the show, and he thought it'd be fun to send this to me. So I decided I'll wear it today. So don't send your angry letters into the producer. I'll be back to my regular uniform in the next show. But Richard, we call him 4.95 affectionately. We have a little party we do every year, and we had so many Richards, we started numbering them. He was inadvertently coming, not coming, so we didn't give him a real number. We gave him 4.95. It stuck. So 4.95, thanks for the outfit. Today we're going to make a Penne Puttanesca, and we're also going to make an Italian vinaigrette bean salad, that kind of white bean salad that goes with it. I like to use it to put on the Italian bread that we're going to use for that as the side also. A little bit about pasta today. So I was looking and researching pasta in the way that I do for these shows, and I said, well, I wonder what top chefs who can get any pasta they want, and I have great extensive kitchens that can make any kind of extruded pastas and regular linguinis and spaghettis. What do they do at home when they want to have dinner? I mean, I don't think they're gonna pull out a can of Chef Boyardee, but maybe. So what I found out is that it breaks down really into two things. One is the way that the pasta is extruded. Now, it can be done with Teflon dies, and those are obviously high speed. They last a long time. They do a great job. They make a great pasta, but they because they're Teflon, the pasta comes out what I would call smooth, shiny. The other method is something called bronze cut. Now, a bronze cut, the dies are a little rougher. Just the type of material that's used makes the pasta a little bit rougher. So that way, when you're making something such as we are today, that it is really heavily olive oil, there's not really a tomato sauce, so to speak. What this does is it allows the pasta to hold that sauce a little bit better. And you can use it on any dish, and you can use either type, but for this type of dish today, bronze cut works great. It's usually, the Italian pastas are a little bit more expensive of a wheat. When I say more expensive, this little package here might be $4, $5 at the store, and whereas a Teflon cut would be $1.99. So we're not talking a big difference here. In fact, this brand, DiCecco, or DiCecco as the Italians would say, is one of the top brands. Rao, R-A-O, El Debretta. I mean, there's about 10 of them that I found. Most of them are widely available at your regular stores. You can get them at the specialty stores too, like a Nino Salvaggio's or something like that. But this pasta, and we'll take a look at it. In fact, we'll pop it open right now, and I'm going to show you how you can even see it. And you can see it's not smooth and shiny like some other pastas are. It's rougher. But the other thing is that it's slow dried. And because of that, it's just a higher quality of pasta. So anyway, if you want to venture out and try this, bronze cuts are really good. Today, we're going to make a dish that's really designed to be for more than the two I'm going to make it for. I'm going to make it for two people. All you have to do really, if you want it for 4, is you double it. If you want it for, I'm making it pretty easy. And again, it's only cooking, so most of the ingredients here are to your taste, and you can add or take out what you don't care for. So to get us our mise en place, I'm going to do a little bit more chopping and cutting in this episode, just so I can remind people how to hold the knife and some of those things that we tend to forget about over time, including me. So what we have on our mise en place, and I'll bring it to the center board here so it's a little easier. I'm going to put a little spinach inside the dish. I like to do that because I think spinach has a sweeter flavor than basil. Now, I'm going to finish it with a garnish of basil, so it'll still have some basil, but I think the spinach adds a little color. It shrivels up very quickly, and it adds a nice sweet flavor. Instead of chopped tomatoes, diced tomatoes, I like to use sun-dried tomatoes in the sauce. When it sautés, it adds a little bit of a red color. If you need more, put a little tomato paste in there. And if you do like tomatoes, you can obviously use diced tomatoes in it as well. Something that adds a little briny flavor and a little flavor are capers. You can put in as much or as little. If you don't care for the taste, you don't need to put them in. They're not really necessary, but this next item will take the place of it. These are Kalamata. I'll show the spelling of that. These are Kalamata olives. These happen to have oregano and some other seasonings on them. I like that. It adds a little to the dish. But these olives have a lot of flavor, and they have that brine that you're going to want to get in there. The only other thing is I tend to put a little taste in here is a little crushed red pepper. Crushed red pepper, as you know, is this type of an item here. Very little goes a long way because we're going to saute. And so that'll go very well. Then, of course, garlic. Every dish has garlic, and I've already minced it because that does take a little bit of time. The other dish that we're going to make is a white bean dish that, again, it's an Italian dish. You can make this a lot of different ways too. Put in what you like, add what you like, or take some things out. So we'll do that after we get the pasta boiling. So you can either use cannelli beans or white northern white beans. I like the northern white beans. They're a little softer because, again, I like to put it on the bread. We're going to slice some bread. That's going to go with the dish. That does have a little bit of tomato in it, I think more for color than anything else. A little red onion, little goes a long way in that too. I'm going to put very little of that. And then you can use Italian seasoning or some herbs from Provence, which has a little bit more to it. It's really Italian seasoning. Maybe this one has lavender in it. It's basically the same idea. It just gives it a little tweak on the flavor. So without further ado, let's get our pasta going so that we can start making our bean salad. Like I said, I'm going to make just a double batch. So that's going to be about a cup of dry pasta. That's going to make enough for 2 people. So we're going to get that going in the boil. You don't need to see this part. We're just going to dump it in there. Salt our water a little bit. Give it a little stir. And that's going to go for 12 minutes. So let's synchronize our watch. And I think we should be okay. Now, in fact, let's set a timer because I get carried away. Because I like to talk, if you haven't gathered that already. So we got that in 12 minutes. Next thing we're going to make is we're going to get that bean salad going. So let's get a little bit of red onion. We're going to use, like I said, just a very little bit because I think it goes an awfully long way. So we're going to just use this inner part here because it's not usually quite as hot. Remember, you hold your knife like this. I'll hold it up here. You hold your knife like a pencil, not by the handle like this because it can turn and twist on you. So hold it like a pencil. And you can just cut very easily. And we're going to chop this real fine. Again, keep those fingers and tips of your toes and tips of your fingers out of the way, toes. I hope you're not getting your toes up there. At any rate, so we got that going. That's all set. We're going to put a little bit of diced. I like to use Roma tomatoes. They just have a better consistency. I'm going to take just a little bit down the side here. And we're, again, going to just finely chop it. I think this has a little flavor, but the real flavor you're getting is from the beans. Again, you can use any type of tomato. If you don't like tomatoes, don't put tomato in it. The restaurant where I used to used to also put a little bit of red pepper flakes in it too. And my wife doesn't like the red pepper flakes as much, so we're going to leave those out. And finally, we're going to get our, what did I do with my olive oil? Here it is. We're going to do this with a little bit of olive oil in here. Again, it's only cooking, so just a couple tablespoons is fine. We're going to use some red wine vinegar. We're going to just put in what we think we want. We'll put about that much in there. A little more. Gives a little tang. Little bit of this herbs from Provence in there. And now we're just gonna whisk this, whisk, because we don't have any mustard in here. Now, if you like to, you can put Grey Poupon in here if that's something that you really want to do. And you just get this going till it gets a nice emulsification. I'm gonna put just a little dab of salt and even a smaller dab of pepper in there. Doesn't really need it. You can season it as you are eating it. Now I'm going to mix some of the red onion in there and some of the tomato. And we take our white beans, and this is pretty simple. I'm telling you, it's simple, but it is delicious over the bread. This was kind of one of my little highlights. Some of you in the area may have been to a place called Lino's. This is my take on it. So, may not be the way Vera and all those folks over there made it, but this is the way I'm making it. So, these are marinating. We'll let those set aside, and we'll get to those in a minute. And what we're going to do now is we're going to go over to the stove, and we're going to start sauteing our products to put in all together with the pasta. So, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after we reset the cameras over to the stove. Thank you.
Canine Stray Rescue does just that. Rescue stray dogs for new families. But they need your help. Become a volunteer at Canine Stray Rescue League of Michigan. Take dogs for walks, help them socialize with others, and help them get adopted. Fill out an application and help a family add a new member today.
Hi everyone, I'm Bill Lansdowne, retired chief of the San Diego Police Department. The first step to protecting your smartphone is to add a simple passcode lock on your phone. It's an important first line of defense. For all Android devices, follow these simple steps. Go to Apps, tap Settings, tap Security, tap Change Screen Lock.
Okay, welcome back. Pasta's got, let's see, about 2 minutes left. We're going to get that to a good point, and we'll hear the timer go off, so don't be... don't be alarmed, it's going to be about 1 minute. So first thing we're going to do, remember all stainless steel, you get it kind of warmed up first. We don't want to do this at too hot of a temperature. All right, we're sauteing, we're not, we're not searing on a white hot thing here. So we'll put in about 2 tablespoons of olive oil. And we're going to let that saute and do its thing for a few minutes. We're going to use these in just a little jiffy here. Now the next thing we want to do is we want to get our flavors kind of coming out a little bit. So one thing we do is with red pepper flakes, remember, a little goes a long way. That's a little right there. That's plenty for what we're going to do. So we just get that moving around there, get that moving around. And we're going to put in our sun-dried tomatoes. Thank you very much that you're done. And we're going to get those going and get the smells coming out. We're going to get our capers in there. Capers got a little brine, so they're going to sizzle a little. We're going to put our Kamala olives in there. A little pinch of olive. A little salt, not much. A little pepper. And we're just going to sear this and sizzle it. Going to turn that oven down a little bit, stove down a little bit. And all we're doing right now is getting all the flavors out into the olive oil. Those sun-dried tomatoes, the Kamala olives. And just kind of getting everything to have a nice flavor. Our pasta, meanwhile, is finished. You heard the timer go off. So we'll do this just a few more minutes. And what we're going to do right at the end, again, let's get those sun-dried tomatoes. I want to get them nice and softened up. These were, although they're not dried, they're dried out, if you will, because they're sun-dried, right? So you want to reconstitute them a little bit. I don't like to soak them ahead of time. You can get the type that are in olive oil in a jar. Those will work fine. They probably won't need to be sauteed quite as long as this. But by doing this, we're getting a lot of the flavor out and into the sauce. Okay. That's getting that smell. Now I'm going to put that garlic in. I didn't want to put the garlic in first because it will burn. And we don't want burnt garlic. So there's the garlic in right here at the end. And that, you want to just cook that long enough till it starts to get a little fragrant. And that's like 20 seconds, 30 seconds. We'll let that go just a little longer. This is probably a good place. You can see I'm using a metal utensil because I'm using stainless steel. Stainless steel sautés a little better than does Teflon. Teflon tends to be uneven heat too because of the metals used in the pan, and you definitely don't want to use cast iron on this particular deal. All right, let's get our pasta lined up here now. And you can reserve a little bit of, once you make this, you can reserve a little bit of the water from the pasta because some people like to put that to thin out and even out their flavors. The starch in there and all that good stuff, the salted water, adds a lot of good flavor to your dish. Okay. That should be about right. Now we're just going to mix everything up a little bit here before we put our spinach in right at the very end. And you can see this dish is not what you'd call your typical pasta dish because it doesn't have a red sauce. That's what makes this so light and such a good in the summer, good in the winter because we're going to have beans and pasta. They're going to have starch all over the place here, so it's good for both things. And now we're going to dump our spinach on right here at the end. Again, I cut the stems off of my spinach, even though I'm using baby spinach, because I like it to. I don't like the way the stems look. I'm going to just let those sit for just a few moments. And we're going to, like I say, just so they wilt pretty quick. And if we really want to, we can take and we can, just to help it out a little bit, we can take a little bit of that pasta water. And we'll put that in there, and that tends to put a little steam in there. There we go. That helps those wilt a little bit faster. You can also, one of the things I didn't mention is if you like onion in your dish, you can saute some onions at the beginning when we had the olive oil going, and that's just fine. And this is perfect. All right, that looks bright and fresh. And we're going to put this into our main serving container. I know I can't do this backhand. If I was left-handed, I could do it, but I can't. So we're going to put that all in there like that. What we're going to do now is we're going to head back to the other side. Give us a second here to reset our cameras. We're going to go over here and set it, plate it, get some bread cut, get our beans all ready, and we're going to try this dish out. So we'll see you right back in just a few minutes. Don't go away.
Your Marine Corps' way of life is to defend the American way of life. Every day, no matter where we serve, we take a stand for our nation, for each other, for us all. The few, the proud, the Marines.
Abigail Adams here, just checking up on our springtime goat work on the Pollyant Trail. What's that? Trash on our beautiful trail? Oh, that makes me so happy. We've got so many trash cans all over the trail. It's a beautiful day on the trail, but oh no, this could end badly. Wow, that sure was nice. Folks know not to hog the road. Even goats share. Hey, that gets my goat. Where are you going? Even I have to be out here on a leash. You sure are a nice dog, but stay away from those weeds. I'm gonna eat them later. What a beautiful gift, our Pollyant Trail. I've got to hit the trail. I hope you will too.
Okay, welcome back. We've, through the magic of television, moved back around to the other side now. So I brought over the Penne Puttanesca. You can make it with pasta too. Should have said that. Some people call it pasta Puttanesca because they can make it with other types. I particularly like the way this holds the oil, looks in the plate and with the fork, and I like it that way. So what we're going to do is I'm going to garnish it probably in the bowl, or in what I do in my serving, with a little bit of basil. Now, if you recall, you may or may not have seen that episode, basil's really delicate, and cutting it causes a bit of a problem, but you want to get the flavor released. So let's just give a little slap, and believe it or not, that lets all the fragrance out. We're going to plate up some of this pasta puttanesca, and you can see it's still piping on fire hot. So we're going to bowl up a little bit of that so the producer and I can try some of this. Okay. And there's a nice little serving. I took all the good parts because I'm the one testing it. And then we'll throw these guys on here. Now, let's get this out of the way. One of the things we're going to do with these beans here is I'm going to put just a little bit of zest on them. Again, just to give it a little bit of brightness. There we go. Can't hurt. And we're going to, it's only cooking is the name of the show. I bought the bread, but it's a good heavy bread, which will go really good with this dish. I'm going to cut off a nice piece of this here. You can toast it. You can use garlic toast, garlic bread, whatever you'd like to do. I'm going to use, I'll cut a piece so I don't look so awful when I do this. My producer says sometimes I eat with my mouth full and all kinds of other bad things. So we're going to do that like that. I'm probably going to myself put a little pepper on there because I love pepper. So what we're going to start with, just because I can't wait to try this, is I have to put a little pepper on it because that's just how I roll. The way that I like to, you can eat it, you can just eat this plain just like it is, but I like to put it on my bread. Now you can either, I don't want it to fall off. You can put a little of that on there, and I like to put a little bit of the sauce on there and everything, and it is absolutely, to me, delicious. The key is having a nice bread. You want a nice heavy bread, or something that'll hold it with a good crust on it. But use the type of bread you want. Hey, you can use a loaf of Wonder Bread if you want. It's the beans that you're really going for. This is excellent. I'd put a little bit more salt in it. That's my taste. But the pepper and everything's perfect. Now let's move on to the main course. Okay. Now, again, this you can, if you wanted to put more tomatoes in, you can. I like it just like this. The flavor is light. You can taste every part of it. You can taste the olive. You can taste the sun-dried tomato. The olive oil. One of the things you can do, if you want a little more olive oil, this thing happens to be a little sprayer. You can spray a little on there. My wife loves the olive oil, so she'll be doing that, putting a little extra on there. Salt and pepper, anything you want. This is like a palette, but it has every flavor. The Kalamata olives, little goes a long way. Those really have a lot of flavor. They pack a punch. I could probably put even more sun-dried tomatoes because I really like those. The basil is just packing a wallop too. So this has got great flavor. These beans, surprisingly for being a white bean, they have a lot of flavor too, but that's from the vinegar and the olive oil and all the other little seasonings and goodies we put in there. So this is a nice dish. Give it a try. It's easy. You can see we put this together in absolutely no time. You can make a little helping like this for 2 people, and it's easy to make. You can't make this necessarily ahead like you can some other dishes that's more of a tomato sauce, only because you want it to be fresh. You don't want the pasta to be overcooked. You don't want everything to be wilted. You don't want your basil to be wilted when you're putting it on as a garnish. You want everything to go on kind of fresh and hot and right at the last minute. So and the beans, you can make those a little ahead. If they marinate for too long, you know what happens to white beans. They get a little soft, and I like them to have a little al dente to them. So you can do that as the way you want. It's only cooking. So until next time, give these things a try, and we look forward to seeing you in my regular costume. Anyway, see you then.